This video is for lesson 8.1, day 2. So if you look in your notes at the second page or the back of the examples that we did yesterday, you'll find this statement at the kind of the bottom half of the second page. It says, when solving an equation where the coefficient is a fraction, multiply by the, and in the blank you're going to fill in the word reciprocal. So before we actually show some examples, we need to refresh ourselves as what all this means. So first, we need to remember what a coefficient is. A coefficient is the number in front of a variable. Then we also need to remember what a reciprocal is. A reciprocal is if you have the fraction 2/3, the reciprocal of that fraction is 3/2. Or if it's negative 2/3, the reciprocal is negative 3/2. So remember, the reciprocal is where you flip the fraction upside down. It's not the opposite. So reciprocal is where we take the fraction and flip it upside down. And we're going to use the reciprocal and we're going to multiply by that reciprocal to solve these problems. So let's take a look at the first example so I can show you what I mean. So here we have 4/5 m equals 9/10. Remember, when we solve these equations, our goal is to get the m by itself. So to do that, we're going to multiply on both sides by the reciprocal of the number that comes next to the m. So the 4/5, we're going to flip it upside down, and we're going to multiply both sides by 5/4. Why I do that is because now take a look. The 5's will cross simplify, the 4's will cross simplify, leaving us just with the letter m, which is exactly what we want. So the left side, we have nothing left but m, and on the right side, all we need to do is multiply these fractions just like we did in chapter 3. You can multiply 9 times 5 and get 45, and 10 times 4 and get 40, and you can simplify both of those by 5, which ends up as 9/8, or 1 1/8. So m is equal to 9/8 or 1 1/8. Let's try another example. In this problem, you'll notice that the variable is on the right-hand side. So when we multiply by the reciprocal on both sides, we want to use the reciprocal of the number that comes in front of the variable. Okay, so we don't just want to flip the fraction that's on the left every time. We want to flip the fraction that's next to the variable. So that's 4/25. If I flip that, we get 25/4. The purpose is that, look, now we cross out the 4's, we cross out the 25's, and k is left by itself, which is exactly what we're hoping for. And then on the left, we can multiply these together. I'm actually going to cross simplify just because these numbers get a little bit big if I don't. So remember, 4 and 8 can both be divided by 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And 25 and 15 can both be divided by 5. 25 divided by 5 is 5, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. Now for our final answer, don't forget that this is negative. So a positive times a negative is going to be negative. 5 times 2 is 10. 1 times 3 is 3, so we get -10/3, or you could write it as -3 1/3. Okay, let's try one other example together, and then I'm going to have you try some on your own. So for this one, we want to cancel out, again, the number next to the variable, so that's a -3. So to make a reciprocal, I need a numerator and a denominator. So I'm going to put a 1 here under the -3, and then I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of -3/1, which is -1/3. So the -3's cancel, the 1's cancel, and m is left. And then over here, we can actually cross simplify the 3's over here as well. And then a negative times a negative is positive. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 5 is 5, and our final answer is 1/5.